Desperado. A desperado piece is one that is already doomed to be captured,
Your time has come, buddy.
but seeks to inflict maximum damage before being taken off the board.
If I'm going down, you're going down with me.
Oh,
In this position, the knight is already trapped, so might as well grab a pawn with it. Decoy. Decoy is a tactic that lures an enemy piece to a specific square where it gets ambushed and captured.
Don't be a simp.
In this position, white sacrifices a pawn to lure the king out in the open, and then ends the game with a brutal checkmate. Under promotion. Under promotion is a tactic where a pawn is promoted to a knight, bishop, or rook instead of a queen. This surprising move can be a game changer, often used to avoid stalemate or achieve specific tactical objectives, not possible with a queen. Overloading. Overloading happens when a piece is given too many responsibilities at the same time, and cannot execute them properly. In this position, this pawn is defending two pieces, but as soon as one is taken, the pawn has to move to another square, leaving the other piece undefended. Rooks on the 7th. Placing rooks on the 7th rank can be a devastating tactic, as they can attack pawns and pieces, cut off the enemy king, and coordinate with each other to threaten checkmate. Discovered attack. Discovered attack happens when moving one piece uncovers an attack by another piece. In this situation, the knight attacks this rook while simultaneously uncovering a check. The king has to move, after which the rook is lost. Fork. A fork happens when a single piece attacks two or more of the opponent's pieces at the same time. In this position, white can move this knight here to fork black's rooks, which leads to a material advantage. Smothering. Smothering often involves sacrificing material to force the opponent's pieces into positions where they block the king's escape.
Don't worry, King. I'm on your side.
you stupid. You're blocking my escape.
Clearance. Clearance is a sacrifice where a piece moves away from a square, file, rank, or diagonal to open up space for another piece. In this situation, the knight would love to jump to e6 to deliver a fork. So the queen sacrifices itself to make the square available for the knight. Pawn breakthrough. Pawn breakthrough is a genius tactic in endgames where a player sacrifices multiple pawns or pieces to create an unstoppable passed pawn. In this position, white challenges black's pawn island, but instead of taking back, white sacrifices another pawn, so that this pawn can promote to a queen. Pin. A pin occurs when a piece is attacked, and moving it would expose a more valuable piece behind it. Pins can immobilize an opponent's piece, making it an effective tool for gaining a material advantage. Skewer. A skewer is similar to a pin but in reverse. The more valuable piece is in front and must move, leaving the less valuable piece behind, exposed to capture.
Honey, watch out!
Are you okay, my queen? Thank God she's gone. She talks too much. Can we do the ankle thing again tonight, baby?
Of course, sweetie.
Windmill. The windmill tactic typically involves a rook and a bishop, where the rook swings back and forth, capturing material on each swing. It's a devastating and often game-ending sequence. Mating net. A mating net is when you restrict the king's movement, so that delivering checkmate is easy if given the opportunity. In this position, the king is in a mating net. These two squares are currently defended, but if at any point, white can bring his rook here, or knight here, it would lead to checkmate. Perpetual check. Perpetual check is a situation where one player can put the opponent's king into check continuously, and the king cannot escape the checks. This results in a draw, and is a tactic to avoid losing when behind on materials. Zwischenzug. Zwischenzug, or in-between move, surprises opponents by inserting an unexpected move within a seemingly forced sequence. Deflection. A deflection is a tactic that forces a piece away from a specific duty or square that is important. In this example, the black queen is defending the square h7, so white sacrifices the rook to force the queen to move, and then delivers checkmate next move. Interference. Interference occurs when a player interposes a piece between an enemy piece and its defender. As a result, the other player can no longer guard the attacked piece, and usually faces a significant material loss, or is checkmated. X-ray. X-ray is an attack where a piece indirectly attacks another piece through an intervening piece. Because this bishop is attacked twice, white can capture it, as if black queen recaptures, black will lose the queen. Undermining. Undermining, also known as removal of the guard, is a chess tactic in which a defensive piece is captured, leaving one of the opponent's pieces undefended. White currently has a mate on g7, but this knight is defending it. So white removes the knight and proceeds with the attack. Passed pawn. Passed pawns can be a fatal weapon during endgames. In this situation, white can take advantage of black's open king and play rook to a8. Black's rook has to capture the pawn, as otherwise it will promote. Unfortunately, white can skewer the rook right afterward. Zugzwang. Zugzwang is a situation where any move a player makes will worsen their position. It's a strategic tool used to force the opponent into a dilemma, often leading to the loss of material or a deterioration in their position. In this position, white plays the brilliant sacrifice, rook to a6. Black only has 2 legal moves, and both lead to a checkmate in one. If black takes the rook, this is a checkmate. If black moves the bishop, white will checkmate this way. Stalemate. Stalemate happens when a player's king is not in check, but he has no legal moves to play. In this real game in 1880, white is currently down 5 points of materials, and all hope seems lost. But white suddenly realized that his king had nowhere to move. He sacrificed the queen, and the game ended in a stalemate. Brilliant. Double check. Double check is when a king is put in check by 2 pieces with a single move. The only way to escape a double check is to move the king, and in this position, white finishes the game with a checkmate. Battery. Battery is a classic tactical motif that involves aligning 2 or more pieces on the same file or diagonal, so they can work together to exert pressure on a specific square in the opponent's camp. Backrank. Backrank tactic occurs when a player exploits his opponent's vulnerable backrank to gain significant material advantage. Counter threat. A counter threat involves responding to an opponent's threat with a threat of your own, often more immediate or severe. In this position, white attacks black's rook, but black responds with a counterattack on white's king, and captures the bishop at the end of the sequence. En passant. En passant is a special pawn capture that can catch your opponent off guard. It occurs when a pawn moves 2 squares from its starting position and lands beside an opponent's pawn. The opposing pawn can capture it, and in this case, lead to a checkmate. Sacrifice. A sacrifice happens in chess when one player intentionally gives up material to achieve a larger goal. In this game, Paul Murphy sacrifices his queen to deliver a stunning checkmate. Rook to d8. Simplification. Simplification is the act of exchanging pieces with your opponent to make the game less complicated. This is particularly useful when you're up on materials and want to convert to a win. In this situation, white is ahead in material. But knights can be tricky, especially when in time trouble. So to avoid having to watch out for potential forks all the time, white decides to trade down into a winning endgame position. This is a very smart decision, as winning this endgame is very mechanical and can be done without much thinking.